Hello everyone, today we will embark on a journey with a young woman named Ella, who dreams not only of a successful future, but of a world where dreams and reality intertwine. Morning is the Time for Dreamers is a story about her path from the quiet corners of her small apartment to the edge of something much bigger. A world where art and dreams are no longer bound by the laws of reality. Ella's day begins like most mornings do. Slow, peaceful, and filled with potential. The sun filters through the curtains of her modest apartment, casting a soft golden glow that makes the morning feel like a promise. The air smells of freshly brewed coffee, the rich, comforting aroma that signals the start of another day. The world outside is just beginning to wake up, and so is she. But even as she stretches and welcomes the day, there's a quiet sense of unease that lingers, as if she's on the verge of something unknown. She moves through her routine with a practiced ease. Yoga to center herself, a brisk walk around the neighborhood to clear her mind, and a few moments spent with her sketchbook, where her imagination runs wild. These little moments are the bedrock of Ella's life, each one filled with the hope that one day, her art will speak to the world. But today feels different. The peaceful rhythm of her morning is interrupted when she finds something strange, an old letter tucked inside one of her childhood books. It's from a friend she hasn't seen in years, someone who disappeared without a trace, leaving only unanswered questions and a shadowy memory. The letter is simple, its contents cryptic, but it brings back a flood of memories. Her friend had always been the more adventurous one, the one who believed that art could transcend boundaries, that it could touch something deeper than the surface of things. But Ella can't shake the feeling that there's more to this letter than meets the eye. The words are familiar yet strange, almost as if they were written for her, too, as though her friend knew she would one day find this message and understand it. And so, Ella decides to take a step into the unknown. The first step of her journey has begun. Not just into the world of art, but into the realm where dreams and reality blur. With the letter in hand, she's ready to uncover the secrets that lie hidden beneath the surface of her own dreams. But little does she know, this is just the beginning. Her quest for answers will take her down paths she never imagined. Paths that will change her forever. As the morning unfolds, Ella finds herself on autopilot, moving through her routine as if the world around her hasn't shifted. But something inside her feels different, a quiet stirring that can't be ignored. The letter sits heavily in her bag, its presence both a comfort and a mystery. She walks down the street, the sounds of the city humming in the background, but her mind is elsewhere, racing with questions she can't quite articulate. Why had her friend written this letter? And more importantly, why now? She tries to push the thoughts aside, focusing instead on her walk. The air is crisp, the kind that makes her breath visible in little puffs, like her thoughts escaping her mouth. The sky is a pale blue, a clean slate that makes everything feel possible. But as she passes familiar faces, there's a strange sense of disconnection, as if she's no longer a part of the world she once knew. It's as though the letter has shifted something inside her, making her see things in a new light. She stops by a local cafe, the kind that's cozy and familiar, where the barista knows her by name and the smell of pastries fills the air. She orders a coffee, the ritual comforting, but even here, in the warmth of the cafe, she can't shake the feeling that something is slipping through her fingers. Her friend, the one who vanished, had always spoken about art in the most peculiar way. Ella had always admired her friend's passion, but the intensity of it had frightened her too. There was something almost obsessive about it. An unwavering belief that art was more than just a way to express oneself. It was a way to reach the deeper parts of the soul, to connect with something beyond the physical world. Ella sits down at a corner table, absently stirring her coffee, and pulls out the letter. It's aged, the paper yellowed and fragile in places, but the ink is still sharp, as if the words had been written only yesterday. Her friend had written about a journey, an artistic journey that led her to something else. Ella can't quite make sense of it, but the words seem to speak directly to her, urging her to find out more, to take that leap. Then a voice interrupts her thoughts. It's one of her old friends from the neighborhood, Jane. She's always had an easy way about her, a carefree attitude that makes Ella smile. Jane slides into the chair across from her, looking at the letter with mild curiosity. Is that from her? Jane asks, her eyes narrowing as she reads the familiar handwriting. Ella nods, her fingers tracing the edges of the paper. I found it today, tucked inside one of my old books. I haven't heard from her in years. She disappeared, you know? No one really knows what happened to her. Jane leans back in her chair, taking a sip of her coffee. Weird. I always thought she was kind of intense, you know? Like she was chasing something that none of us could see. Ella doesn't respond immediately, her mind racing. There's truth to what Jane says, but there's also something more. Something that Ella can't quite put into words. Yeah, she finally says, her voice quieter than usual. But she was also one of the few people who really believed that art could change everything. She thought it could make the impossible real. And now, this letter. Maybe she's still chasing that, Jane suggests. Maybe she found something that we're not meant to understand. Ella frowns, her mind spinning with the possibilities. I have to know what happened to her, she says, more to herself than to Jane. I think the answer is in this letter. It's not just about art. It's about something bigger. Something different. Jane nods slowly, her expression thoughtful. If you think so. But just be careful, Ella. Some things, they're better left alone. The words hang in the air between them, heavy with warning, but Ella can't ignore the pull. She has to know what happened. She has to understand the meaning behind this letter. After Jane leaves, Ella finds herself walking aimlessly through the streets, her thoughts a tangled mess. She's determined to figure out what happened to her friend, but she can't shake the feeling that this search will lead her into uncharted territory. And that scares her in a way she's not used to, but at the same time it excites her. When she reaches the corner of her old neighborhood, something stops her. There's an old bookstore she used to visit as a child. The sign above the door is faded, the glass in the windows dusty, but it still stands there, a relic from the past. The store had always been a place of wonder for Ella, a place where stories came to life. She had spent hours there as a child, lost in the pages of books that seemed to hold more than just words. Ella steps inside, the familiar scent of old paper and leather filling her nostrils. The shop is empty, save for the elderly man who runs the place. He looks up as she enters, a faint smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. Ella, he says, his voice rasping but kind. Haven't seen you in years. What brings you here? She hesitates, unsure of how to explain. I'm looking for something, she says, her voice trailing off as her eyes scan the shelves. Something from the past? He asks, as if he already knows. Ella nods slowly, her gaze landing on a row of dusty art books. I'm looking for answers, she says, though she's not entirely sure what that means yet. The old man nods knowingly. Some things are buried for a reason, my dear, he says. But sometimes we need to dig them up to truly understand. Ella stares at him, a chill creeping down her spine. For a moment she feels as though he's speaking directly to her, as though he knows exactly what she's about to uncover. She takes a deep breath, pushes the feeling aside and starts searching the shelves. Her hand brushes against a book, its cover decorated with intricate patterns and strange symbols. She pulls it down, opening it to the first page. It's filled with illustrations, bizarre and dreamlike, each one depicting scenes that seem too real to be imaginary. And just like that, Ella feels the world shift again. It's as if the letter, the bookstore, and the strange old man have all conspired to lead her here, to this moment. She has found the key. Her next step in the search for the truth. Ella stands in the bookstore, the book in her hands like a map to an unknown world. The old man watches her silently, as if waiting for something. She can't shake the feeling that this book is connected to her friend, to the letter, and to the strange world that seems to be slowly creeping into her life. The cover is a deep, dark blue, with silver ink that glimmers faintly under the dim lights of the shop. The symbols on the front are unfamiliar, yet somehow they feel oddly familiar, like forgotten memories that are just out of reach. Ella flips through the pages, and the illustrations begin to draw her in. Each drawing is more surreal than the last, floating islands, people whose faces blur into abstract shapes, trees with twisted, otherworldly branches. They're all vivid, dreamlike, and hauntingly beautiful. One illustration catches her eye. A figure standing on the edge of a cliff, staring out at a vast, endless sky. The figure is drawn in fine detail, but it's the sky that holds her attention. It's not like any sky she's ever seen. It's a swirling mix of colors that don't belong together. Blues and purples bleeding into reds and oranges, creating a dreamscape that feels both alien and strangely inviting. She turns the page and there's another illustration, this time of a doorway made of light, standing alone in the middle of a dark forest. The doorway is open, but the path beyond is shrouded in mist, impossible to see. The strange symbols from the book are scattered across the pages, like a puzzle that's waiting to be solved. Do you recognize it? The old man's voice breaks through the quiet, and Ella looks up, startled. She shakes her head slowly. No, but it feels familiar, she admits, her voice barely a whisper. The man smiles faintly, a glimmer of something knowing in his eyes. It's not always about recognition, my dear. Sometimes it's about feeling. And the feeling this book will give you. It will change everything. Ella's heart races. She's not sure what he means, but the weight of his words settles heavily in her chest. She looks back at the pages, and her eyes are drawn to one final image. It's a painting of a woman standing in front of a canvas, her hand stretched out as if reaching for something just beyond her grasp. The woman's face is a blur, but there's something about the pose, the way she's reaching, that seems almost too real. It's as if the woman knows exactly what she's doing, even though she's in the midst of a dream. Ella's fingers brush the page, and as she does, the room around her seems to shift. It's subtle at first, just a slight change in the air, but it's enough to make her pause. She looks up and for a split second, she thinks she sees the bookstore's shelves bend and warp, as if the world itself is stretching and reshaping. Are you okay? The old man's voice cuts through her daze, and she blinks, pulling herself out of the strange sensation. I think so, Ella says, her voice unsteady. She sets the book down, suddenly feeling a weight in her chest. This is more than just a book, isn't it? The old man nods slowly. Everything has a purpose, Ella. And sometimes you have to go deeper than you ever thought possible to find it. You're looking for something, aren't you? Ella swallows hard, her throat dry. I don't know anymore. I thought I was just trying to understand my friend, but now, this feels like something else. Like there's a reason I'm here right now. The old man watches her for a long moment, his eyes sharp as if he's sizing her up. You're on the right path, he says quietly. But you have to be careful. There are forces in this world, forces that exist beyond our understanding. And sometimes those forces come through the art we create, the dreams we chase. Ella doesn't know what to say. The words feel heavy, and the air in the bookstore seems thick, as if something is about to happen. I have to go, she says finally, her voice tight. She doesn't know why, but she feels a deep urgency to leave. She takes the book, holding it close to her chest as she makes her way to the door. The old man watches her go, his face unreadable. When Ella steps outside, the cool air hits her like a wave, grounding her in the present. She takes a deep breath, trying to shake off the strange feeling that still lingers in the back of her mind. The world around her seems quieter now, as if everything is holding its breath. She looks down at the book in her hands, the symbols on the cover still glowing faintly. She doesn't know exactly what's happening to her, but she feels a pull, a magnetic force that's drawing her deeper into something she doesn't fully understand. Her phone buzzes in her pocket, and she pulls it out, her fingers trembling as she looks at the message. It's from Jane. Are you sure about this, Ella? This is bigger than you think. Be careful. Ella stares at the message for a moment, her fingers hovering over the screen. She wants to tell Jane that she's fine, that she's just following the path she's meant to take. But something stops her. The words that the old man had said echo in her mind. Forces beyond our understanding. Maybe Jane is right. Maybe this is bigger than she thinks. But Ella knows one thing for sure. She can't stop now. The path is laid out before her, and she's already stepped onto it. There's no turning back. She has to see this through. She has to uncover the truth, even if it means walking into the unknown. With a deep breath, Ella tucks the phone away and looks up at the sky. The clouds are gathering, dark and heavy, as if the world itself is preparing for something. And she knows that whatever happens next, she's ready. The days that follow are a blur of sleepless nights and restless dreams. Ella becomes consumed by the book, its pages beckoning her like a siren song she cannot resist. She spends hours at her desk, studying the illustrations, tracing the strange symbols with her fingers, and attempting to decipher their meaning. There's something hypnotic about it all. The way the lines twist and bend, the hidden messages buried beneath layers of abstraction. It feels as if each page holds a secret just waiting to be uncovered, a secret that will unlock the next step in her journey. Yet, the more she immerses herself in the book, the more distant her everyday life becomes. She neglects her art, the one thing that had always grounded her, in favor of the pursuit of answers. The joy she once found in painting now feels like a distant memory, replaced by an insatiable hunger for something bigger, something beyond the tangible world she knows. One afternoon, after a particularly long stretch of hours spent reading and painting, Ella feels a strange shift in the air. The room, which had once felt familiar, now seems distant. The walls feel like they're closing in on her, the floor beneath her feet vibrating with an energy she can't explain. She looks down at her hands, noticing that her fingers are trembling as they hover over the canvas in front of her. It's as if the room itself is alive, pulsating with an energy she can't control. Suddenly, a memory flashes in her mind. A memory of her childhood, of the time she would lie on the grass in her backyard and gaze up at the sky, imagining the most fantastical worlds. It's a moment of peace, a moment when the lines between imagination and reality were blissfully blurred. But now, as she stares at the painting before her, she realizes something chilling. The world she once dreamed about as a child isn't just a fantasy anymore. It's real. Her hand shakes and the brush slips from her grasp, splattering dark paint across the canvas. She watches in a daze as the color spreads, forming shapes that resemble nothing she's ever seen before. Shapes that are both abstract and familiar, like fragments of forgotten dreams. The painting begins to shift. It's subtle at first, almost imperceptible, but as she stares at it, she can see the edges of the canvas warp and twist, the colors moving as if alive. It's as if the painting is pulling her into it, drawing her closer to the world it depicts. Her heart races. She stands up abruptly, backing away from the canvas. Her mind is a whirlwind of confusion and fear. What is happening to her? What is this feeling? Before she can process what's going on, her phone buzzes on the table, snapping her out of her trance. She looks at the screen, and her breath catches in her throat. It's another message from Jane. Ella, I don't think you understand the gravity of this. It's happening to you, isn't it? Please be careful. This isn't just about art anymore. Ella stares at the message for a long moment, her fingers hovering over the screen. She wants to reassure Jane, to tell her that everything is fine, that she's just following her instincts. But she can't. Not anymore. She looks back at the painting, her pulse quickening as she realizes that Jane is right. This is bigger than she ever could have imagined. The world she's stepping into isn't just a dream. It's something much darker, something that's been hidden for a reason. The line between the dream world and reality is thinner than she thought, and with every brushstroke, she's pushing that line further and further. But even as fear grips her, there's another part of her that can't stop. A part of her that feels like she's been waiting for this moment her whole life. The pull is too strong, too compelling. Ella takes a deep breath, trying to steady herself. She knows she can't turn back now. There's no more room for doubt. This is her path and she has to follow it, no matter where it leads. With trembling hands, she picks up the brush again, her eyes never leaving the painting. She dips the brush into the paint, and as she does, the room seems to shift once more. The air grows thick with energy, the walls closing in around her, and the lines between what's real and what's imagined begin to blur. She starts to paint, but this time it's different. It's as though the brush is no longer in her control, as if the painting itself is guiding her hand. The colors swirl and mix, creating patterns and shapes that feel like they belong to another world, one that Ella has only just begun to understand. Her mind races, trying to process what's happening, but the more she paints, the more she feels as though she's not just creating something, she's unlocking something. Each stroke is a key, and with every key she turns, the door to another world creaks open wider. It's terrifying, but it's also exhilarating. The thrill of discovery, of stepping into a world where dreams and reality collide, fills her with a strange sense of power. She doesn't know where this journey will take her, but she knows she can't stop now. As the painting takes shape before her eyes, Ella feels a sudden, overwhelming urge to step into it, to cross the threshold and see what lies beyond. But before she can act on the impulse, a loud knock on the door startles her, breaking the trance. She hesitates, her heart pounding. She knows she should ignore it, but she can't help herself. She walks to the door, the weight of the painting still heavy in her mind. When she opens it, she finds no one there. Only a small package sitting on the doorstep. She picks it up, her curiosity piqued, and when she opens it, her breath catches in her throat. Inside is a set of brushes, identical to the ones she's been using. But these brushes are different. They seem to hum with energy, as though they've been waiting for her. A note falls out of the box, and Ella reads the words written in neat, precise handwriting. Your journey has just begun. Keep painting. The world is waiting. Ella stares at the note, a chill running down her spine. She knows that this is no coincidence. This is part of the journey she's meant to take. And now there's no turning back. The world is waiting. Ella stands frozen in the doorway, the small package in her hands feeling heavier than it should. The note inside, its words echoing in her mind, sends a shiver down her spine. The world is waiting. What does that even mean? The words seem to carry a weight that's impossible to ignore, like a challenge she can't walk away from. She looks down at the brushes again, their sleek, almost eerie appearance making her feel like she's holding something that doesn't belong in this world. The idea that her art could be more than just a means of expression has taken root in her mind, and now it feels like it's starting to grow, taking on a life of its own. Ella glances back toward the painting on her easel, the one she'd been working on when the knock interrupted her. The canvas feels alive, pulsing with an energy she can't explain. The colors seem to shimmer as if they're waiting for her to continue, beckoning her to step deeper into the unknown. For a moment she just stands there, her hand clutching the box of brushes like an anchor. She feels the pull to continue to paint, but there's a lingering hesitation, a fear of what she might unlock. But the message on the note is clear. Keep painting. The world is waiting. The world. It feels like a whisper in her ear, like a secret she's meant to uncover. With a deep breath, Ella steps back into the room, her feet moving on their own accord. She sets the brushes down carefully beside the canvas, her hands trembling as she picks up her old, familiar brush, the one she's always used. There's no turning back now. She knows that much. As she dips the brush into the paint, the familiar swirls of color begin to spread across the canvas. But this time something is different. The paint flows smoothly, effortlessly, as though the brush is guided by an invisible hand. The shapes and patterns she's painting no longer feel like her own. They feel as if they are emerging from somewhere deep inside her, somewhere beyond her conscious mind. They are memories and dreams tangled together, images of places and faces she doesn't recognize but feels inexplicably connected to. She paints the swirling sky she had seen in the book earlier, the one that had captivated her so completely. The colors she uses bleed together in ways she didn't think possible. The blue and purple blend into red and orange, creating a surreal horizon that stretches beyond the edges of the canvas, a space where time and reality seem to bend and warp. And then, just as she's adding the final strokes, something strange happens. The room grows colder, the air thick with tension. The paint on the canvas begins to ripple, as if it's alive, responding to her touch. It's subtle at first, just a slight shift in the colors, but then it becomes more pronounced. The brush in her hand feels heavier, and her movements are no longer entirely her own. It's as though the painting is guiding her, urging her to push further. Ella's heart races. Her fingers ache as she presses the brush down harder, her mind a whirlwind of fear and exhilaration. What is happening to her? What is she painting? She steps back from the canvas, staring at the surreal scene she's created. The swirling sky, the strange horizon. It's unlike anything she's ever seen before. The painting feels like a doorway, an entry point into another world. She takes a tentative step forward, her eyes never leaving the canvas. She feels the pull, the same magnetic force that had drawn her to the book, to the brushes, to the art that was no longer just art. A sudden gust of wind blows through the room, though the windows are closed. The papers on the desk flutter as if caught in an invisible breeze. Ella's heart skips a beat. She can feel the energy in the room, the way the boundaries between what's real and what's imagined are dissolving. She reaches out, her hand trembling as she inches closer to the painting. She's not sure what will happen if she touches it, but she feels as though she has no choice. Her fingers brush the surface of the canvas, and that's when it happens. The world around her shifts. It's like stepping through a veil, as if the fabric of reality itself has torn open, and she's slipping through. The room around her blurs, dissolving into a haze of color and light. The walls stretch and bend, and the ground beneath her feet seems to disappear entirely. For a split second she's weightless, suspended between two worlds. Then with a jolt she's standing in the middle of the painting. It's impossible. It doesn't make sense. But there she is, standing on a cliff with the swirling sky above her, the same sky she had painted. The air is thick and heavy, the colors around her more vivid than anything she's ever seen. The ground beneath her feet is soft like moss, and the scent of the air is unfamiliar, damp, earthy, and strangely sweet. Ella looks around, her breath catching in her throat. This place, it's like a dream, but it's real. The world she stepped into is both alien and familiar, like a memory she's never had. The horizon stretches out before her, endless and impossibly beautiful. She reaches out, running her fingers through the air. But it's not just air. It's something more. A substance she can't describe, like the very essence of the dream itself. And then she hears something. A voice, distant but clear. Ella. She spins around, but there's no one there. The voice comes again, closer this time. Ella. Her pulse quickens. She knows that voice. It's her friend's voice, the one who disappeared. She tries to call out, but her words are swallowed by the vastness of the place. The voice is guiding her, calling her forward, and she knows she has to follow it. As she walks, the landscape shifts around her. Trees sprout from the ground, their branches twisting and turning in unnatural ways. The sky above her swirls, a never-ending dance of colors. It's like nothing she's ever experienced, nothing from any world she knows. But even as the beauty of the place overwhelms her, a growing sense of unease settles in her chest. She's here now, in this strange world of dreams and reality, but what does it mean? What is the purpose of this place? And what happened to her friend? The voice calls again, more insistent this time. Ella, you have to come. Ella steps forward, her feet moving as if guided by the unseen force, her heart racing. She doesn't know what lies ahead, but she knows she can't turn back. The world is waiting. Ella's heart beats erratically in her chest as she steps deeper into the strange landscape. Every fiber of her being is drawn to the voice, her friend's voice, but there's something unsettling about it, something that feels both comforting and dangerous at the same time. The place around her feels alive, shifting and changing with each step she takes. The colors swirl in a way that seems almost deliberate, like the world itself is watching her, responding to her presence. As she walks, the ground beneath her feet feels soft and yielding, like it's made of something that's not quite solid. Her eyes catch fleeting glimpses of strange creatures in the distance, figures that look like they belong in a dream, not the waking world. They move in and out of the swirling mist, their forms shifting, as though they're not entirely real. Yet there's a sense of life to them, a kind of quiet awareness that makes Ella's skin prickle. She keeps moving forward, the voice calling to her again, now louder, more urgent. Ella, you must come. You're almost there. Her breath catches in her throat as the voice grows closer, and she quickens her pace. The landscape shifts again. The trees, which had once been twisted and gnarled, are now towering, their branches reaching out toward her, almost as if they are beckoning her forward. The sky above has darkened, and a strange dim glow casts everything in an eerie light. In the distance, a shape begins to form. A figure standing at the edge of a cliff, silhouetted against the swirling sky. Ella's pulse quickens as she realizes who it is. It's her friend. The woman stands perfectly still, her back to Ella, gazing out over the expanse. Her hair moves slightly in the breeze, and she's dressed in the same clothes Ella remembers from their childhood days. Simple, earthy tones, the kind of clothes they used to wear when they were young and free, dreaming of far-off worlds. Ella calls out, her voice trembling with excitement and fear. Isla! Isla, is that you? The figure doesn't turn, but the voice calls again, more insistent now. Ella, you're so close. You have to understand. You have to see. Ella steps forward again, her feet barely touching the ground, as if she's floating above it. Every part of her aches to reach her friend, to close the distance between them and find the answers she's been searching for. She takes one step after another, drawn toward the figure at the edge of the cliff. As she gets closer, she notices something strange. Isla's form is beginning to blur, to shimmer. Like the edges of her being are not fully contained in this world. Ella stops in her tracks, her breath hitching in her throat. It's like Isla is fading, becoming part of the landscape, part of the dream itself. Isla. Ella calls again, her voice breaking. Please tell me what's happening. What is this place? What did you find? But Isla doesn't respond. The air around them thickens, the colors of the sky swirling faster and faster, the world tilting at odd angles, as though reality itself is warping. Ella's body is heavy with the sensation of vertigo, like the ground is slipping away beneath her. She reaches out toward Isla, desperate to make contact, to pull her friend back from the edge of whatever it is that she's fading into. But her hand passes through Isla, as though she's not really there. The figure flickers, dissolving into the air, leaving nothing but a faint trail of smoke in its place. A deep guttural sound vibrates through the air, and the ground beneath Ella's feet trembles violently. The colors in the sky twist into violent shades of red and purple, the world seeming to collapse in on itself. It's as though everything around her is coming undone. Ella stumbles back, her heart pounding in her chest. She tries to call out to Isla, but the words catch in her throat, lost in the chaos of the world crumbling. The very fabric of reality seems to be tearing apart, and Ella can feel it, deep within her bones. She has crossed the threshold, entered a realm where the rules of the physical world no longer apply, and now it feels as if the world itself is rejecting her. No, she whispers, her voice trembling with fear. No, this can't be happening. I need to understand. And then, just as suddenly as it began, everything stops. The ground stills beneath her feet. The sky settles into a calm, peaceful blue, as if nothing had ever happened. The violent red and purple colors fade, leaving behind only soft, swirling pastels. The trees settle back into their familiar shapes, no longer twisting and bending in the strange ways they had been before. Ella's breathing slows, though her heart is still racing. She looks around, her eyes darting from side to side. The landscape is peaceful again, but it feels wrong, like she's caught between two worlds, one foot still in the dream world and the other back in reality. She takes a tentative step forward, her legs shaky beneath her, unsure of where she's going. Ella. The voice calls again, though it's not Isla this time. It's softer, gentler. A woman's voice, but not her friend's. Ella turns around, searching for the source of the voice, but she doesn't see anyone. Who are you? She calls out, her voice trembling. The voice answers, its tone quiet, almost soothing. You're not meant to be here, Ella. This world is not for you. Not yet. Ella feels a chill run down her spine. The air grows colder around her. What do you mean? She demands, her voice growing more urgent. Where is Isla? Where did she go? The voice doesn't answer immediately. For a moment, the only sound is the wind, whispering through the trees. Finally, the voice speaks again, its tone laced with sadness. She's lost just as you are. But the answers you seek are not in this world. You must wake up. Ella's heart stutters in her chest. Wake up. What does that mean? But before she can ask any more questions, the world begins to dissolve once again. The trees, the sky, the ground beneath her feet. All of it starts to fade, as if it's all slipping away into nothingness. And Ella is left with only one thought in her mind. This isn't over. Ella gasps for air as the world around her dissolves. It's like the ground beneath her feet has vanished, like she's falling through endless layers of nothingness. Her heart races in her chest, and she tries to grab onto something, anything to keep her grounded, but everything slips through her fingers like smoke. For a brief, terrifying moment, she's caught between worlds, her senses disoriented and her mind spinning. The familiar colors of the dream world fade, replaced by an overwhelming sense of weightlessness. She can't tell if she's floating or falling, only that she's being pulled further, deeper into the unknown. And then, just as quickly as it began, the sensation stops. Ella is back in the real world, though it doesn't feel like it. The room around her is familiar, but everything seems off. It's dim, almost as if the light has been muted, and the air feels thick, heavy. The walls of her apartment appear to stretch unnaturally, the corners bending in ways that defy logic. The smell of paint lingers in the air, but it's no longer the comforting scent she once loved. Now it's suffocating, overwhelming. Ella stands in the middle of the room, blinking, trying to make sense of what's happening. She looks down at her hands, expecting to see the paint on them from her earlier work, but there's nothing. No color, no trace of the paint she was using. Her hands are empty. The sound of a clock ticking breaks the silence, its steady rhythm unnervingly loud in the quiet room. She turns to face it, but the clock's hands are frozen. Time is standing still, and yet, she can feel the seconds passing, like they're slipping through her fingers. Her breath catches in her throat as she looks around. The room is too still, too quiet, and something feels wrong about it, like she's not really there, like she's not fully present. The line between dream and reality has blurred to the point where she can't tell which world she belongs to anymore. Suddenly, the painting on the easel catches her eye. It's no longer the swirling sky she had been working on. Instead, it has transformed into something else. A distorted version of her own face, twisted and contorted in ways that make her heart race. The eyes in the painting are wide and filled with a sense of desperation, as though the figure trapped in the canvas is pleading for help. Ella steps back, her breath coming in shallow gasps. She can't look away from the painting, though she knows she should. The figure in the canvas seems to be staring directly at her, its gaze full of pain and longing. It's as if the painting has taken on a life of its own, as if it's trying to reach out to her. Isla! Ella whispers, her voice hoarse. She doesn't know why she says the name, but it feels right. The face in the painting, distorted and twisted as it is, reminds her so much of her missing friend. The air grows heavier, and the room seems to close in on her. The shadows stretch unnaturally, their long fingers creeping across the walls. The clock continues to tick, louder now, its hands still frozen in place. And then, as if in response to her question, the painting shifts again. The figure's mouth opens, though no sound escapes. The eyes widen even further, filled with terror. The edges of the canvas begin to warp, and Ella watches, transfixed, as the painting starts to ripple. It's as if the world inside the painting is alive, shifting and changing in response to something Ella can't comprehend. She takes a step closer, her heart pounding in her chest. There's something she needs to understand, something she's missing. She has to know what this painting means, what it's trying to tell her. With trembling hands, she reaches out toward the canvas, her fingers hovering just above the surface. The moment her fingertips brush against the painting, the world shifts again. The air goes cold, and a powerful force pulls her forward. She stumbles, her body jerking as if she's been yanked from one reality and thrown into another. The world around her warps and distorts, the colors bleeding into each other, until she's standing in front of the painting once again. But this time she's inside it. Ella gasps as she looks around. She's no longer in her apartment. Instead, she's standing in a desolate landscape, the world around her bleak and barren. The sky is a sickly shade of green, and the ground beneath her feet is cracked and dry, as though it hasn't seen rain in centuries. The air is heavy with dust, and a strange, oppressive silence fills the space. She turns around, searching for any sign of life, but there's nothing. No trees, no animals, no people. Only the endless stretch of dry, cracked earth. And then she sees it. In the distance, barely visible through the haze, there's a figure standing alone. The figure is facing away from her, but even from this distance, Ella can tell who it is. It's Isla. Her friend stands at the edge of a cliff, gazing out at the barren landscape, her back to Ella. The same figure from before, the one she had seen in the dream world, now appears before her in this strange, desolate place. Ella's breath catches in her throat. She has to reach her friend, has to understand what's happening. She starts walking toward the figure, each step feeling like it's taking all her energy. The wind picks up, blowing dust and debris across her path, but Ella pushes forward, determined to reach Isla. As she gets closer, the world around her seems to warp again. The ground trembles beneath her feet, and the air becomes thick with tension. The figure of Isla remains motionless, unblinking, as if she hasn't noticed Ella's approach. But as Ella reaches out to touch her, Isla suddenly turns and Ella freezes. Isla's face is not what she remembers. It's pale, almost lifeless, her eyes wide and unblinking, staring at Ella with a vacant, empty expression. The look in her eyes sends a chill down Ella's spine. It's like Isla is trapped, lost between worlds, unable to break free. Isla! Ella whispers, her voice shaking. What happened? What's going on? But Isla doesn't answer. Instead, her lips move, forming words, but no sound escapes. Ella leans in closer, desperate to understand, but as she does, the world around her begins to unravel once again. The landscape cracks open, and the ground beneath her feet gives way. And Ella falls into the darkness. Ella's fall feels endless, like time itself has been swallowed by the darkness. Her body tumbles through the void, her senses disoriented and her mind racing. She wants to scream but no sound escapes her lips. The air rushes past her in a whirlwind, and she can feel the weightlessness of her descent, as if gravity no longer exists in this place. The deeper she falls, the more she feels as though she's slipping away from everything she knows. For what feels like an eternity, she tumbles through the darkness, the feeling of falling both terrifying and liberating at the same time. Her heart races in her chest, and her thoughts are scattered, trying to make sense of what's happening. The world around her is a void. No walls, no floor, just an endless expanse of nothingness. But there's something else too, something that she can't quite grasp. It's like she's falling through the very fabric of reality, the edges of the world itself unraveling around her. And then just as suddenly as it began, the falling stops. Ella crashes to the ground, her body slamming into something soft, yet firm, like the earth itself has been remade. She blinks, trying to orient herself, her body aching from the impact. Her breath comes in shallow gasps as she struggles to sit up, her mind spinning. When she looks around, she realizes that she's no longer in the void. She's somewhere else, somewhere unfamiliar, yet strangely familiar at the same time. She's in a vast open space that feels like it's suspended between worlds. The ground beneath her is made of smooth, dark stone, stretching out in all directions, but the edges of the stone fade into an endless mist, as if the space doesn't have boundaries. The sky above is a deep, swirling purple, filled with strange constellations that seem to pulse with a life of their own. It feels like a dream, an impossible, surreal dream that is both beautiful and unsettling. The air is thick with energy, crackling with a sense of power that seems to hum beneath her skin. Ella slowly stands, her legs weak beneath her. She takes a few tentative steps, her feet moving cautiously across the stone. The air here feels different, heavy with the weight of something ancient and otherworldly. Every movement she makes is echoed by the strange silence around her, as though the entire space is holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. She glances around, searching for anything familiar, anything that might help her make sense of where she is. And then she sees it. In the distance, a figure stands alone, silhouetted against the swirling sky. The figure is tall, their form glowing faintly in the darkness, like a shadow made of light. The figure doesn't move, doesn't speak, but there's something about them that draws Ella in, something that feels both haunting and familiar. Her heart skips a beat as she realizes that the figure is Isla. But this version of Isla is different, strange and ethereal, like a being that has transcended the limits of the physical world. Her form flickers in and out of existence, her features indistinct, like she's made of the very mist that surrounds the stone beneath their feet. Ella hesitates for a moment, her breath caught in her throat. This place, this world, it feels wrong. It feels like something that exists between the cracks of reality, a place where time and space don't follow the rules. It's a world built from dreams and nightmares, and Isla seems to be a part of it. But she can't stop herself. She steps forward, drawn to the figure, unable to look away. With each step she takes, the space around her shifts, the ground beneath her feet shifting as though it's alive. She moves faster now, her heart pounding in her chest as she approaches Isla, the space around them warping and twisting like a dream on the verge of collapse. When she reaches Isla, the figure finally turns, and Ella's breath catches in her throat. Isla's face is different now, familiar yet alien. Her eyes are wide and empty, like she's trapped between worlds. The expression on her face is one of longing, of pain, and of something else, something that Ella can't quite place. The closer she gets, the more she realizes that Isla isn't really here. She's a projection, a piece of something that exists beyond this world, something that's been caught between realities, unable to break free. Isla, Ella whispers, her voice trembling. What happened to you? Where have you gone? Isla doesn't respond. She opens her mouth, but no words come out. Instead, she raises a hand, her fingers trembling, and points toward the horizon. The gesture is slow, deliberate, like she's trying to show Ella something, trying to lead her somewhere. Ella follows the direction of Isla's finger and sees it, Far in the distance, just beyond the reach of the mist, there's a shape. It's a door, a massive ancient door that stands alone in the void, its edges glowing with an eerie light. The door seems to pulse with an otherworldly energy, like it's calling to her, beckoning her forward. Her heart races as she takes a step toward the door, but Isla's hand shoots out, grabbing her wrist with surprising strength. Ella turns to look at her friend, but Isla's face is unreadable, her eyes filled with an expression of desperation. She pulls Ella toward her, but there's a strange resistance, as if the world around them is pushing them apart. "You can't go," Isla whispers, her voice barely audible. "Not yet." Ella's mind spins. Why? What's behind that door? Isla doesn't answer. Instead, she slowly releases her grip, her fingers brushing against Ella's skin before she steps back. The expression on her face is one of sorrow, of knowing something that Ella can't yet understand. The air around them grows heavier, and Ella feels the weight of the world shifting again, as if the entire space is holding its breath. "Isla, please," Ella cries, desperate for answers. "Tell me what's happening." But Isla only stares at her, her eyes filled with an ancient sadness. The door in the distance continues to pulse, its light growing brighter, calling to Ella, urging her to step through. Ella takes one last look at Isla, the pain of the moment washing over her, and then she turns toward the door. She takes a deep breath, her feet moving forward, the air thick with tension as she steps toward the threshold. The door awaits. Ella's heart pounds in her chest as she takes another step toward the glowing door. The air is thick with anticipation, almost suffocating in its weight. Each breath she takes seems to echo in the silence, a quiet rhythm that matches the thumping of her heart. Her eyes are fixed on the door, the light from it pulsing like a heartbeat of its own, beckoning her forward. She doesn't look back. She can't. The pull is too strong, and with every step, she feels like she's drawing closer to an answer, to a truth she's been seeking for so long. It's as though everything in her life has led her to this moment, to this threshold between worlds. The landscape around her shifts as she moves, the stone beneath her feet slipping and changing, the mist swirling around her like a living thing. She's no longer in control of her surroundings. The space itself seems to bend to the rhythm of her movement, distorting and warping in ways that make her feel like she's stepping through the fabric of reality. As she nears the door, the light grows brighter, warmer, and for a brief moment, Ella wonders if this is it. If this is where everything will be explained. The voice, the visions, the paintings, they all lead here to this moment. The door is the final piece of the puzzle, the answer to everything. But as she reaches the threshold, a sudden wave of doubt crashes over her. She stops, her breath catching in her throat. The reality of what she's about to do hits her all at once. What is behind this door? Is it the answer she's been searching for? Or something far more dangerous? Is she prepared to face what's waiting on the other side? She turns back to look at Isla, but the figure of her friend is gone. The space where she stood is now empty, the swirling mist thick and opaque. Isla is nowhere to be found. Ella's chest tightens with a sense of loss, the connection to her friend slipping further away. The door before her feels like the only thing left, a gateway to something unknown. It promises answers, but it also promises uncertainty. And in this place where the boundaries between dreams and reality have already broken down, she knows that nothing is guaranteed. Still, she can't stop herself. She's already come this far, already crossed so many lines, that turning back now feels impossible. The door is calling her, and for better or worse, she knows she has to step through it. With a deep breath, Ella reaches out toward the door, her hand trembling as it brushes against the cool surface. It's like nothing she's ever felt before. Smooth, solid, yet somehow intangible, as if the door exists in both this world and the next. The moment her hand touches the door, everything changes. The world around her shudders violently, as if the fabric of reality itself is being torn apart. The mist swirls in dizzying patterns, the ground beneath her feet tilting and warping in a way that makes her stomach lurch. The door in front of her glows brighter, its light intensifying until it's blinding. Ella steps forward, her mind racing with 1,000 thoughts, but she doesn't hesitate. She steps into the light, the glow enveloping her completely. The sensation of crossing a threshold is like nothing she's ever experienced before. Like moving through water, but without resistance. It's like she's shedding one world and entering another, But the boundaries between them are so fluid that she's not sure when one ends and the other begins. For a moment, she can't see anything at all. The light is so intense that it overwhelms her senses, drowning out everything else. She blinks rapidly, trying to adjust, but the world around her remains a blur. And then slowly the light begins to fade. When Ella's vision clears, she's no longer standing in the mist-filled space. She's somewhere else entirely. The world she's entered is both strange and familiar. It's a place of surreal beauty, a dreamscape of shifting colors and shapes that feel like they belong to a world outside of time. The ground beneath her is soft, like the petals of a flower, and the sky above is a deep, rich violet, dotted with stars that seem to pulse with life. There are no trees, no buildings, just endless fields of swirling light and color stretching out in all directions. Ella takes a hesitant step forward, her eyes wide as she takes in the scene before her. It feels like she's entered a new dimension, a place where the rules of reality no longer apply. The air is thick with energy, buzzing with the promise of something otherworldly. It's as if she's stepped into the heart of a dream, where everything is possible, and yet nothing is certain. In the distance she sees something moving, something large, its form silhouetted against the swirling colors. Her heart skips a beat as she recognizes it. It's a figure, but not just any figure, it's Isla. But this version of Isla is different. She's not standing still like she was before. Now she's walking through the landscape, her movements graceful, fluid, like she's part of this world, a being who belongs here. Ella's breath catches in her throat. She starts to run, her feet moving faster than she's ever moved before, as if the very air around her is pushing her forward. She doesn't know why she's running, but she can't stop. She has to reach Isla, has to understand what's happening. As she gets closer, the figure turns, and for the first time, Ella sees Isla's face clearly. Her eyes are glowing, an ethereal light filling them, and her smile is warm, but there's something distant in it, a sadness that Ella can't quite place. Isla! Ella calls out, her voice trembling. Isla, please tell me what's going on. Where are we? But Isla doesn't respond. She only watches Ella with those glowing eyes, her expression unreadable. And then, without a word, Isla raises her hand and gestures for Ella to follow. Ella takes a deep breath and steps forward, her body feeling light and weightless, like she's floating through the dreamlike world. She doesn't know what lies ahead, but she knows that she's being guided. By Isla, by the door, by something far bigger than herself. And so, she follows. Ella follows Isla, the soft, petal-like ground beneath her feet cushioning each step as if she's walking on clouds. The world around her continues to shift and pulse with energy, each movement of her body drawing her deeper into this strange, dreamlike realm. The colors swirl and morph, creating patterns that are both beautiful and disorienting. The landscape is alive, fluid, and constantly changing. There's no horizon, no clear boundary to this world. It feels infinite, as if it stretches on forever, and yet it's entirely contained in the moment. The figure of Isla leads her through the ever-shifting expanse, her glowing eyes reflecting the same strange light that fills the sky. She moves with an ease that makes Ella feel as though she's walking through water, her movements slow and deliberate, yet graceful. It's as if Isla is no longer fully bound by the physical limitations of the world they once knew. She's something more, something otherworldly, like a part of this realm itself. Isla! Ella calls out again, her voice trembling with urgency. Where are we? What is this place? But Isla doesn't answer. She doesn't need to. There's something in her silence, something in the way she moves that speaks volumes. Ella feels a strange connection to her, as though they share a bond that transcends the limits of this world. As they walk, the ground beneath them shifts again, this time revealing a path that wasn't there before. It's made of glowing stones, their edges pulsing with light. The path stretches out before them, leading toward an enormous structure in the distance. An ancient, imposing building that rises from the ground like a mountain. Its surface is covered in strange symbols, markings that look like they've been carved into the stone by hands long forgotten. The structure is beautiful in its own eerie way, a mixture of organic shapes and angular lines, as though it was built by forces beyond human comprehension. The air around them grows heavier as they approach, the temperature dropping slightly. There's a hum in the atmosphere, a low vibration that seems to resonate with every step Ella takes. The path before them seems to beckon, drawing her toward the structure, and with each step, she feels more and more certain that this is where she's supposed to be. The door she stepped through, the strange world she's entered. This was all leading her here. Isla doesn't stop, her pace unwavering, and Ella follows, her heart pounding in her chest. She feels like she's on the verge of something important, something life-changing. But there's a part of her that hesitates, a part that wonders if she's stepping into something she's not ready for, something that she can't control. They reach the base of the structure and Isla stops. She turns to face Ella, her glowing eyes meeting hers. There's a moment of silence, and for the first time since Ella arrived in this world, she feels the weight of everything pressing down on her. The air is thick with anticipation, and she can sense that something is about to happen, something that will change everything. Isla raises her hand, a silent gesture for Ella to come closer. Ella steps forward, her feet moving as if guided by an unseen force. She reaches the base of the structure, standing before Isla, and for the first time, she notices the markings on the stone beneath them. The symbols seem to shift and change as she looks at them, like they're alive, responding to her presence. "This is it, isn't it?" Ella asks, her voice barely more than a whisper. "This is where everything leads." Isla doesn't answer. Instead, she turns toward the massive structure, and Ella follows her gaze. The symbols on the stone begin to glow, a soft light that spreads out in all directions, illuminating the path before them. The hum in the air grows louder, vibrating through Ella's chest, and she feels a strange sense of power coursing through her. The structure begins to shift, its massive walls slowly opening, revealing a dark void inside. The light from the symbols fades into the blackness, and for a moment everything feels still, as if the world itself is holding its breath. Ella steps forward, her body tingling with anticipation. She looks to Isla for guidance, but her friend remains silent, her glowing eyes fixed on the void inside. There's something powerful, something ancient, waiting within. Isla steps forward, her form flickering like a mirage in the shifting light, and Ella follows, her heart racing. The darkness inside seems to pull her in, like the pull of the unknown, the call of something that she's meant to understand. As she steps into the structure, the air changes. It's cold now, and the walls around her seem to pulse with an eerie energy. The symbols on the walls glow faintly, casting strange shadows on the floor. The space feels ancient, like it's been here for centuries, waiting for someone to find it. Isla leads her deeper into the structure, and Ella feels the weight of her surroundings pressing in on her. The air is thick with history, with secrets that have been buried for a long time. The deeper they go, the more Ella feels as though she's being drawn into something she doesn't fully understand, something that goes beyond art, beyond dreams. It's as if the very fabric of reality is woven into the stones around her. At the end of the corridor, they reach a large chamber, its walls lined with more symbols, more intricate designs that seem to move and shift. In the center of the room stands a pedestal, and on top of it rests an object, a glowing orb that pulses with a soft golden light. Isla steps forward, her movements fluid and graceful, and Ella follows, her heart racing. She feels a strange sense of recognition, like she's seen this place before, but she can't place where. The orb on the pedestal calls to her, its light drawing her in like a magnet. Isla stops in front of the pedestal, and without a word, she reaches out and touches the orb. The moment her fingers make contact, the room erupts with light, and Ella feels a surge of energy pulse through her body. Her vision blurs, and the ground beneath her feet seems to shift again, as if she's being pulled into the very heart of the structure. The world around her fades, and for a brief moment, Ella feels like she's falling again, like she's slipping through the fabric of time and space. The orb's light envelopes her, filling her with a sense of power and understanding that she can't fully comprehend. And then, just as suddenly as it began, everything stops. Ella stands in the center of the room, breathing heavily, her body buzzing with the energy of the orb. The light from the pedestal fades, leaving behind a soft, golden glow that illuminates the chamber. She looks around, and for the first time she feels like she's truly arrived. The answers she's been searching for are within her reach. All she has to do now is unlock them. The air feels thick with anticipation, and for the first time since stepping into this strange world, Ella feels a deep sense of knowing. The orb's light still pulses softly in the center of the room, casting an ethereal glow across her face, but now it feels less like a mystery and more like a key. A key that will unlock everything: her friend, her art, and the path she's been walking ever since she opened that letter. Her heart still pounds in her chest as she approaches the pedestal, drawn to the orb, its warm light enveloping her in a strange calmness. The world around her seems to fade away. The sounds of her breath and the soft hum in the air all that remain. She reaches out instinctively, her fingers trembling slightly as they hover just above the glowing surface. Before she touches it, though, she hears a voice, a soft, haunting whisper that fills the space around her. "Do you truly want to know?" the voice asks. It's familiar but distant, like a memory trying to surface. Ella pauses, her hand frozen midair. The voice. It's Isla's voice, but it carries an edge to it now, an uncertainty, as though her friend, or whatever is left of her here, is unsure of the consequences of Ella's actions. "Yes," Ella whispers, her voice steady despite the knot in her stomach. "I need to know." Her fingers brush the surface of the orb. The instant her skin makes contact, a surge of energy erupts through her, so intense it nearly knocks her off her feet. It's as though the entire room comes alive, vibrating with a force that's both terrifying and exhilarating. The orb, once a solid, golden sphere, begins to shift and shimmer, its light flaring brighter and brighter, until it becomes a swirling vortex of color, blue, gold, and silver. Ella gasps, feeling a pull deep within her chest, as though the very essence of her being is being drawn into the heart of the light. She tries to pull away, but her hand is stuck, held fast by the orb's power. The light envelopes her completely, and she feels herself falling again, the world around her blurring as if it's been ripped apart and reassembled in an instant. But then everything stops. Ella opens her eyes, and she's no longer in the chamber, no longer standing before the pedestal. Instead, she's in a different place, one that feels hauntingly familiar, yet alien in its intensity. She's standing in the middle of a vast empty space. The ground beneath her is smooth and featureless, stretching out infinitely in all directions. The sky above is pitch black, punctuated by glowing constellations that seem to pulse with an unnatural light. There's no horizon, no markers to indicate where the space begins and ends. It's as though she's floating in the void of the universe itself. And then she sees it. In the distance, a figure stands alone. At first, it's just a silhouette, indistinct, but as she focuses, she realizes it's Isla. Her friend stands motionless in the center of the vast emptiness, her back turned toward Ella. The sight sends a shiver down her spine. Without thinking, Ella begins to move toward Isla. The air feels different here, colder and heavier than before. The space is oppressive, but at the same time there's a strange beauty to it, as though the very nature of existence is different in this place. As she walks, she feels an overwhelming sense of isolation, as though this world, this dimension, exists outside the boundaries of her understanding. The closer she gets, the more she can sense Isla's presence, familiar and foreign all at once. There's a strange aura around her, like she's part of this place, tied to it in a way that Ella can't comprehend. Her figure flickers in and out of focus, as if she's caught between worlds, between realities. The more Ella approaches, the more it feels like she's walking through a dream, or a memory, a place that only exists in fragments. Isla's head turns slightly, her glowing eyes meeting Ella's for the first time. But even in the dark, her eyes are filled with an ancient sadness. "You found it," Isla says, her voice calm but laden with something unspoken. "I found it," Ella repeats softly, unsure of what to say. The distance between them feels impossible to cross. What is this place? Where are we? Isla's lips curl into a faint bittersweet smile. This is the place where everything ends, and where everything begins. Ella doesn't understand. She steps forward, her feet moving as if pulled by some invisible force. The words Isla speaks seem to resonate with something deep inside her, a truth she can almost touch but can't fully grasp. "Isla, please." Ella's voice trembles as she reaches out, her fingers barely brushing Isla's arm. "Tell me what happened. Why did you disappear? Why did you leave me?" Isla's face flickers again, the light in her eyes dimming as she gazes at Ella. For a moment it seems as if she's about to speak, but instead, she shakes her head slowly, her expression one of resignation. "I didn't leave you, Ella," she says, her voice heavy with sorrow. "I was never meant to stay. None of us were." This world. She gestures around her, the vast emptiness stretching beyond comprehension. It isn't real. It's a dream, a construct, a place where the boundaries between our worlds are thin. And it was always going to end. For both of us. Ella's breath catches in her throat. What do you mean? I don't understand. What are you saying? Isla turns toward her completely now, her form becoming more defined, as though she's slowly stepping into focus. You were always meant to find this place. You were always meant to see the truth behind the dreams, behind the art. It's the final piece of the puzzle, Ella. It's where the world of creation and destruction meet. Ella steps back, her mind spinning. The words are too much, too overwhelming. She's caught in a whirlwind of confusion, trying to process everything she's just heard. I don't know if I can handle it, Ella says quietly, her voice breaking. Isla's eyes soften, a glimmer of understanding passing through them. I know, but you don't have a choice, Ella. The truth has always been inside you. It's in your art, in your dreams. You've been creating this world without even knowing it. Ella stares at Isla, feeling the weight of her words press down on her like a physical force. She takes a deep breath, trying to calm the storm of thoughts raging inside her. The pieces are starting to fall into place, but they don't fit neatly. They never do. And yet she knows what she has to do. I have to wake up, don't I? Ella asks, the realization dawning on her. Isla nods slowly. Yes. You have to choose. You can stay here in the world of dreams, but it will never be real. Or you can go back. You can choose reality. The choice is yours. Ella stares at her friend one last time, her heart heavy with the weight of the decision before her. She knows that this moment will change everything. She takes a deep breath, and then she turns away from Isla, stepping into the darkness beyond. The darkness wraps around Ella like a suffocating blanket as she steps away from Isla. The weight of the decision presses on her chest, heavier than ever. She can feel the pull of the void around her, but as she moves further into it, a strange calm settles over her. It's a choice, she knows. A choice between staying in the world of dreams, where the lines between reality and imagination are blurred, or stepping back into the real world. A world that she knows, but that she's grown afraid of. The air around her is cold, and the silence is deafening, filling every corner of her being. For a moment, she stands motionless in the dark, unable to see anything beyond the blackness that surrounds her. But even in the stillness, she feels something stirring, something deep within, as though the choice she's made has set something into motion. She exhales slowly, the breath rattling in her chest. Her thoughts are jumbled, still racing with the enormity of what she's learned. The world of dreams, the world she's been living in, none of it is real. It's all been a creation of her mind, a manifestation of her own art, her own desires. But what happens when art becomes too real? What happens when the boundaries between creation and destruction fade? Ella. A voice calls from the dark. She freezes, her breath catching in her throat. The voice, soft, familiar, like a memory she's been holding onto for too long, calls her name again. She turns toward the sound, the voice pulling her forward despite every instinct telling her to stop. She walks through the blackness, her feet moving on their own, as though guided by some unseen force. The deeper she goes, the stronger the pull becomes. It's Isla's voice again, but it doesn't feel like it's coming from her. It feels like it's coming from everywhere, from the very fabric of this world. The path before her starts to take shape, the darkness shifting into forms that seem to flicker in and out of focus. The shadows start to warp and twist, turning into shapes that resemble faces, figures, and fragments of memories. They whisper her name, echoing in the silence, and Ella feels herself drawn into the swirling vortex of images and voices. The ground beneath her feet shifts again, becoming soft and uneven. She stumbles, trying to regain her balance, but the world around her seems to ripple with every step she takes. The images become more vivid now, fragments of her life, of the people she's known, of her dreams and fears. She sees herself as a child, lying in the grass, gazing up at the sky with a sense of wonder, of possibility. She sees her younger self in the art studio, creating with abandon, her heart full of dreams that seemed so tangible back then. But the images turn darker too. She sees moments of pain, times when she felt lost, uncertain, or out of place. She sees the faces of friends and loved ones, their eyes filled with confusion and sadness, as if they've been watching her drift away, consumed by the very art that once gave her purpose. She sees Isla, her face filled with regret, reaching out to her but unable to reach her. The memories collide in a dizzying blur, and Ella stumbles again, falling to her knees. Her hands press against the ground, but instead of solid earth, she feels the texture of something softer. Like fabric, like dreams themselves. She lifts her head, and what she sees nearly stops her heart. The sky above her is filled with swirling colors, a cosmic dance of light and shadow. The stars pulse with energy, like living creatures, moving in patterns that seem to guide her every step. But the stars are not what she's focused on. It's the figure in the center of the sky, the figure of Isla, her form suspended in the void, surrounded by glowing threads of light. The threads seem to be holding Isla in place, connecting her to everything around her. Isla's eyes are closed and her face is serene, but there's a deep sadness in her expression, a resignation that speaks of something far beyond this moment. She doesn't move, doesn't acknowledge Ella's presence, but the connection between them is undeniable. Isla, Ella whispers, her voice trembling. What do I do? The threads of light around Isla pulse, and for a brief moment, Ella feels a surge of understanding. The art, the dreams, they were never just about creating. They were about connection, about understanding the balance between the worlds they inhabit, between the dream world and the real world. And now she's standing at the precipice of that balance, caught between the two. Isla's voice cuts through the silence again, soft but clear. The truth is in you, Ella. It always has been. Ella feels a jolt in her chest, as if the words are sparking something deep within her. The memories, the moments she's experienced, they've all led her here. They were all pieces of the puzzle, each one contributing to the bigger picture. Isla. Ella breathes, a realization dawning on her. I've been trying to escape. I've been running from the truth, running from reality. But I can't anymore. I need to face it. Isla's figure begins to fade, her form dissolving into the threads of light, but her voice lingers. Yes, Ella. You have to face it. But remember, reality is not a prison. It's a canvas. It's where you create, where you live. Ella takes a deep breath, the weight of the moment settling in. She knows what she has to do. She knows that the choice she makes here, in this space between dreams and reality, will shape the rest of her life. With newfound resolve, she stands up, brushing the dust from her hands. The swirling colors in the sky begin to fade, and the ground beneath her feet solidifies. The threads of light once tangled around Isla now seem to fade into the background, becoming part of the universe itself. Ella steps forward, toward the center of the shifting space. The sky above her clears and the stars pulse gently, like a heartbeat, guiding her steps. She knows she's not just stepping into a new world. She's stepping into herself. And whatever happens next, she's ready. Ella stands at the edge of everything she's ever known, staring into the vast expanse of the cosmos that stretches endlessly before her. The once chaotic, swirling light now settles into a calm, steady glow, casting a soft illumination on the ground beneath her feet. The air is still, and for the first time since she arrived in this strange, surreal world, she feels the weight of clarity pressing down on her like a warm, comforting embrace. She inhales deeply, her chest expanding with the full force of her breath. The reality of her situation, the choice between returning to the physical world or remaining here, caught in the space between, sinks in, but it doesn't feel so daunting anymore. It's as if the choice has already been made, long before she stepped into this dreamscape. She knows deep within her that the answer lies not in the realm of dreams or art, but in her own ability to reconcile both, to make them coexist in harmony. The strange, otherworldly space around her seems to hum with life, resonating with the very fabric of her being. She feels the connection to it, like she's a part of this world, and this world is a part of her. Her past, her memories, her artwork, all of it was leading her here, to this pivotal moment where she could transcend her fears and doubts and face the truth that had always lingered beneath the surface. She turns her gaze toward the distant sky, where the stars shine with a steady brilliance. A quiet sense of resolve washes over her. Isla's voice echoes in her mind, reminding her of the balance between creation and destruction, between dreams and reality. Reality is not a prison, Isla had said. It's a canvas, a space to create, to build, to live. That truth, that realization is what has brought her here. She can no longer hide behind the veil of dreams, where things are easier to understand, more controllable. She can no longer hide in the safety of art, where reality is twisted to fit the mold she's created. It's time to step back into the world she once left behind, to face the chaos and beauty of life head-on. She feels the pull toward the door that had led her here, the gateway to her past, to the world she knows. It's a quiet, gentle pull, as if the universe itself is calling her back to where she belongs. But this time she's not running away. This time she's stepping forward, with the understanding that the line between the world of dreams and the world of reality isn't as rigid as it once seemed. With each step, the vast emptiness around her begins to shift. The stars above flicker and fade, dissolving into the mist. The ground beneath her becomes solid again, the soft, petal-like surface giving way to familiar earthy ground. The weight of her decision presses on her, but it no longer feels heavy. Feels like freedom. The sky above her begins to change. The dark void of space recedes, replaced by the soft light of dawn. The horizon, once distant and unreachable, now feels close, like she can touch it with a single movement. The world of dreams and the world of reality are blending together, merging into one. She doesn't know exactly what it will look like when she returns, but she knows that whatever it is, she will be ready. As she walks toward the edge of the space, toward the place where she can step back into her life, a faint sound reaches her ears. It's the sound of footsteps, soft and steady, echoing in the quiet space. Ella turns to see Isla walking toward her, her figure solidifying as the mist fades away. Isla's expression is calm now, her eyes no longer filled with sorrow, but with understanding. She doesn't speak at first, but the connection between them is clear. The air between them crackles with the unspoken bond of two souls who have shared a journey that will soon come to an end. I knew you would make the right choice, Isla says softly, her voice gentle but firm. Ella nods, her lips trembling as she holds back the flood of emotion threatening to spill over. I didn't know if I was ready. I didn't know if I could handle it. You are, Isla replies. You always were. This was never about escaping. It was about understanding. And now you do. Ella's eyes fill with tears as she reaches out to her friend. She takes Isla's hand, and in that moment, everything feels right. They don't need to speak anymore. Their connection transcends words. They are both parts of the same whole. And Ella understands now that she doesn't have to let go of her dreams. She doesn't have to choose between the two worlds. She can carry them with her, side by side, shaping her reality with the same hands that once painted her dreams. Thank you, Ella whispers, her voice thick with gratitude. Thank you for showing me the way. Isla smiles softly, her form flickering with a gentle glow. You always had the power to find your own way, Ella. I was just here to remind you. With a final glance, Isla steps back, her figure dissolving into the air like mist, leaving behind only the lingering warmth of her presence. Ella watches as her friend fades away, feeling a deep sense of peace settle in her heart. She's not alone anymore. She's never been alone. And she never will be. Ella turns toward the horizon, toward the place where the world waits for her. The door back to her life stands before her, a simple threshold that holds infinite possibilities. She steps through it without hesitation, her heart full of courage and conviction. As she steps back into the real world, she feels the weight of the past lift off her shoulders. The world before her is no longer a place of fear and uncertainty. It's a canvas, a blank slate waiting for her to create her future. She knows now that she's ready to paint the life she's always dreamed of, but never truly understood until now. The dawn breaks above her, casting the world in a soft golden light. And for the first time in a long while, Ella feels the weight of the world fall away, replaced by the simple, undeniable truth that she's exactly where she's meant to be. The world that Ella steps back into feels different now, as though it's been reassembled with new clarity. The bright hues of the morning sky stretch endlessly above her, the soft golden light of dawn washing over the landscape. For a moment she stands still, taking it all in. This familiar world that feels both unchanged and entirely new. The city around her hums with life, the sounds of people going about their daily routines, the scent of fresh coffee and the soft rustle of leaves in the breeze. It's the world she's always known, but it's no longer a place of uncertainty. It's a place of endless possibility. She breathes deeply, inhaling the cool morning air, the scent of earth and possibility filling her lungs. There's something liberating about being here again, about stepping into the real world with the weight of her dream world still lingering in her soul. The boundary between the two doesn't feel so rigid anymore, and Ella knows now that they are one and the same. Her dreams aren't just figments of her imagination. They are the very essence of who she is, and they will always be with her, guiding her steps. She feels a deep sense of peace as she walks through the streets, her steps light and sure. The world is vibrant, full of life, and she's no longer afraid of the chaos. The uncertainties that once clouded her mind have cleared, leaving behind a calm certainty that she can face whatever comes next. She understands now that the power to shape her reality lies in her hands. Her art, her dreams, they are not separate from her life. They are an integral part of it. Ella heads toward the art studio, the place where her journey began, the place where she first discovered her love for creation. As she approaches the door, she pauses for a moment, letting the familiar sights and sounds of the studio wash over her. The smell of paint and the soft clinking of brushes against easels bring back memories of countless hours spent here, lost in the world of her own making. Inside, she feels a rush of inspiration flood her senses. The walls are lined with her past work, but it's no longer just a collection of paintings. It's a visual record of her journey, each brushstroke a testament to the battles she's fought, the dreams she's chased, and the truth she's uncovered. She can see it all now, the patterns, the connections, the moments that led her to this point. It's more than just art. It's her life, woven together in colors and shapes that speak to the soul. She sets down her bag and walks over to the easel, her fingers grazing the surface of the blank canvas in front of her. It's waiting just as she is. She picks up a brush, the familiar weight of it grounding her in the present moment. She dips it into the paint, her hand moving instinctively, guided by a deeper knowing. This time it's different. Her strokes are no longer hesitant or unsure. They are bold, filled with purpose. The colors on the canvas come to life under her touch, blending together to create something beautiful, something meaningful. There's no fear, no doubt, just a sense of trust in the process, in the art, and in herself. As she paints, the memories of the dream world fade into the background, replaced by the certainty that she has found her place in the real world. Her art is no longer an escape. It's her way of understanding the world, of making sense of the chaos and beauty that surrounds her. She is both the creator and the observer, the dreamer and the doer. The hours slip by unnoticed as Ella loses herself in her work. She's not thinking about the past or about what might come next. She's simply living in the present moment, her brush moving across the canvas in perfect harmony with the rhythm of her thoughts. The painting takes shape before her eyes, an expression of everything she's learned, everything she's felt. It's a reflection of her journey, of the dreams that once seemed distant and unattainable, now brought to life in full color. And when the painting is finished, Ella takes a step back and looks at it, at herself. It's a beautiful, chaotic blend of color and form, a piece that feels both familiar and strange, like a memory that's just out of reach. But in that moment she understands. This painting is not the end. It's the beginning of something new, a new chapter in her life where dreams and reality coexist in perfect balance. She smiles to herself, feeling a quiet sense of pride. She's ready to live fully, to embrace the world with open arms, knowing that she has the power to shape it with every brushstroke, with every dream, with every choice. The sun outside the studio casts its final rays of light across the horizon, and Ella stands at the window, watching the sky shift from gold to pink to purple. The world is waking up just as she is. And for the first time in a long time, she feels at home, both in the world of dreams and in the world of reality. She doesn't need to choose between the two. They are one and the same. And with that understanding, Ella steps forward, ready to embrace whatever comes next.